Morning guys, Coach Paulie here. I'm going to take you through a morning hip spin up made popular by the famous Kelly Starrett and the Ready State. I've actually been using this morning hip spin up for myself just as first point of movement for the morning, and also for many of my clients just getting into any of their hip-based squat sessions, or even myself, hip-based squat sessions. It's a great little warm-up. Runs about 10 minutes. I'm going to run through that today with you and just cover all the points that I think you want to be paying attention to whilst you do this. So getting started, you're going to have 1 foot forward and 1 foot back on that back knee, and we want to create as much flexion in that hip as possible. So leaning forward, hands on the floor, just on the inside of the foot, just so you can see where that is, inside of the foot. And then from here, I'm just going to start moving around that hip. So usually when we get into this in the first instance in the morning, it's going to be pretty tight. You're going to have tension running through that hip, either inside or outside. But we're just trying to slowly create a little bit more range and having a little bit of load on those hands, just so that you're supporting that flexion through the hip. Play with the tension in the belly as well. The next part of that movement, I'm just going to rotate, face you. We're going to bring that foot into the front. So when I started, I actually had the foot out here. This is what it looked like from the front. I'm going to bring that foot into the midline. I'm going to plant that hand, inside hand on the foot, and stay in that same position, but then I want to drop this knee right out. And so from there, I'm still maintaining that same pattern of just general movement in and around the hip, just exploring the tension in that hip. Nice work. All right, from there, I'm going to lean into this outside hand. So the hand that's opposite to the foot, I'm going to lean into that and rotate. I'm going to put my hand on this knee, and I want to look right back over the shoulder. So from the side, it looks like I'm going into this position here. So I'm getting a lot of rotation. So this back hip, so the one that's opposite the top one, the bottom hip, we're actually rotating that towards the floor. So I want you to really feel the side of that body open up and rotate those shoulders around. Feel that rotation through the whole body. And like I said, loading up through this shoulder. Alrighty, we're going to come back and do the absolute opposite. So back to the front again, just so you can see that foot still in the midline where I started and that knee's dropping out. What I'm going to do is bring this outside elbow to the floor, so as close as I can get. Not everyone can get to that position, so if you're unable to get through there because of tension through the hip or anything else stopping you, preventing you, you can actually slide that elbow out a little bit further, so come a little bit further away from your hip. Also, if that it doesn't work, there's still too much tension through that system anywhere, then stay nice and high. And all we're trying to do with this exercise is get the shoulders towards the floor, but with a little bit more maintaining that square position. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with this elbow down, and I'm going to rotate this other elbow towards the floor, putting in and out tension. So coming on tension and off tension through that hip. Shoulder down, it's really putting pressure through the structures on the outside of my hip. Won't necessarily be where it is for you, but generally the structures on the outside, really feeling that tension through that extra bit of flexion. All right, from here, I'm going to come back up to my starting position, and still on the inside. And now I'm going to lift this back knee off the floor. So I'm pushing into that high lunge just from the side. This is where we're pushing into. So that high lunge, I'm squeezing the quad, getting the back knee off the floor, and making sure that I'm pushing the hip towards the ground. So I really want to open up through the hip. of the back leg. As I'm pushing that towards the floor, you can feel that stretch in and out, in and out, in and out. And then from there, I'm bringing that knee back to the floor. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to push the weight back onto that knee. I want to bring this front leg nice and long. I'm just going to start by playing with a little bit of tension through that leg by lifting the toe. Toe starts first. The second thing I want to do is squeeze this quad. So as the toe gets to the top, I'm going to squeeze the quad tight, and it actually works against this hamstring. So you're really getting that big stretch through that hamstring and all of the nerves that are flowing through the back of the body. That's really putting that pressure on. And then chest down to the floor, or chest towards that toe, sorry. That's what we're trying to do, is just put a little bit more tension. So those three things together, toe up, squeeze the quad, chest to the toe. Awesome work. So once we've gone through a few cycles of that, I'm going to get into doing the same on the opposite side of my body. So let's start this one exactly the same position. So hands on the inside of the foot, and I'm just starting by moving the body around that hip. So really trying to get into all those points of tension. It's about bringing awareness to where that tension is today and feeling where it's holding on. So once we've done that with that foot, I call that on the tram line, so knee and foot are apart. I'm going to bring this foot into the midline. I'm going to place my hand on that foot, and I'm going to push that knee out, so really get the outside edge of that hip working. A little bit different angle just so you can see what's happening. I'm going to drive that knee out in that direction. Good work. All right, starting with the upper body and what we're doing with these rotations. So I'm going to lean on this outside arm opposite to the foot. I'm going to place the hand up on this knee, rotate, really look over that shoulder, and I want to start hanging off this shoulder and this arm. So really put the pressure down the shoulder and the arm and let the body really sink into that. So this back hip, hip on the back leg, you can rotate that towards the ground, really let that just relax into that position. And then from here, once we've been there for about 60 seconds, we're going to rotate back to the front. And this is where I start bringing my elbow, so the opposite elbow or opposite hand is working again, elbow down to the floor, and I'm going to start to rotate this elbow towards the floor, trying to bring those shoulders into that square position. That's really going to challenge where this leg is in flexion, so where that hip is in flexion. So in and out, in and out. And like we say, this is a spin up, so we're waking up, and depending on what's happened yesterday, we've got tension in our body that's been caused by that blood pooling overnight and other factors that feed into how the body holds on to tension. And this little spin up really helps with getting the body prepped for what needs to happen next. So next part of this flow is we're going to push that back knee off the floor. I'm going to squeeze the quad, and I'm going to let the hips sink towards the floor, really open up. So we're just trying to alleviate that body of some of that tension and give it a little bit more range to work with, no matter what's coming next. Sitting, moving, walking, driving, all of those things. We want to make sure that the body is ready to go. So hip towards the floor. Once we're done there, then I'm going to push that back knee back down to the floor. I'm going to straighten up this front leg and start playing with that tension through the hamstring and sciatic nerve, just by pulling that toe back and letting my chest start to come towards the toe. Same time, quad's going to go on. Quad on, chest towards the toe, reaching in and out, quad on, chest towards the toe, in and out. done, I really encourage you to get up, have a bit of a walk around, get the blood flowing through that hip structure again, and that is your daily hip spin up. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Check in the notes below and I'll link in the original video where I learned this hip spin up from the Ready State and Kelly Starrett. Hope you guys have a good day.